Yeah.
They named me Sarah after the Hall and Oates song Sarah Smile. So
Live from the Willie Nelson and Friends Museum Showcase in Nashville, Tennessee. It's Music is Funny. Musicians talking to comedians about music and comedy. With your hosts, Raelyn Nelson and Jonathan Bright.
I'm still smoking, I'm so high, I keep toking, I'm drunk, but I'm still drinking too.
Welcome back to Music is Funny. I'm Raelyn Nelson.
And I'm Jonathan Bright, back with another fantastic, unneeded, and unnecessary intro.
And he's from the Raelyn Nelson Band.
That's true.
And we are playing November 26th in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, opening for the Clarks at a place called Jurgles.
We think.
I think. So, come see us live if you're there.
Check the website for more information.
Sara Weinshenk. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, nice to meet you.
This is Raelyn. Nice to meet you. This is JB, my co-host and friend and music partner,
Hello,
guitar
Sarah.
player.
Hi, can you guys see me?
We
no,
cannot.
I'm sad. I can't see you.
So weird. Okay, that's why. Let's do this. Hi.
Oh, we
There
can.
you are.
Okay, cool.
I was just looking
Awesome.
through your Instagram and how cute you are.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, so cute. I
Yeah,
love all
it's
your
so-
fashion photos and everything. So cute.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to do this pod.
Thanks for doing it with us. It's hard to get female comedians to agree to do it. I don't know why. Cheers.
Cheers. What are you drinking?
I was drinking, we were just sharing a little bit of an all-day IPA, and then I've now got a seltzer water, lemon lime, Simple Truth organic Kroger brand stuff.
Hell yeah.
It's
You're
just
living-
sparkling water.
You're living your best life. I'm drinking sparkling water too. Cheers.
Okay, so we like to start this podcast off by, okay, we're definitely recording.
Yeah.
By asking you, what is the first music you remember loving as a kid?
The very
This is-
first.
Well, maybe what your parents were listening to, or sisters or brothers or something.
Crosby, Stills, Nash, Young.
Oh, wow.
The song Our House by them, that was like the first time. That was the first song that I remember them playing and me really, really loving.
That makes sense. You grew up in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, I grew up in the Valley.
So that makes sense. So your folks were into Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, I suppose?
Yeah, my dad's like a hippie. We saw the Rolling Stones together. I grew up listening to Fleetwood Mac, Rolling Stones, Steely Dan. A lot of Steely
Wow.
Dan happening. What else was there? Yeah,
Sounds like your dad was pretty hip.
my dad's pretty hip. He loves Hall and Oates.
Yeah.
They named me Sarah after the Hall and Oates song Sarah Smile. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
So did you progress from that? Did you kind of stay in that mold as far as music goes? And once you started getting kind of a little bit older and into high school, where did the music path lead you as far as listening to music?
But then I went in a more like stoner direction in high school. I feel like there was a lot of Led Zeppelin, a lot of Grateful Dead. What else was there? Yeah, and like a wide range, but a lot of old stuff, a lot of old rock stuff for a long time, especially in high school. I remember like finding Led Zeppelin and also finding weed at the same time. So those kind of like went hand in hand.
You and generations of other people did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Pink Floyd I got into, but not as much. I wasn't really like a huge Pink Floyd person, but I do remember listening to them in high school. And then the Dead. And then I got into the Grateful Dead again later when I watched, they have a documentary on Amazon that's really good.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So were your friends listening to the same kind of stuff? Were you a bit odd being a female listening to all that rock stuff, or did your whole crew kind of listen to that stuff?
All my friends kind of listened to that, but we also, I feel like the vibe is different because it was maybe like LA. So it was like everyone was listening to rock kind of around when I was in high school and smoking a lot of weed. That was just my experience.
How old were you when you first started smoking weed?
14.
14. Every day?
No, I didn't really, like in high school, I would smoke weed on the weekends. I couldn't smoke it before school. And then I didn't really smoke it in college, and then after college, I started smoking weed again.
Yeah, it's tough to be a full-time weed smoker at 14, Raelyn. You gotta have a job.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't fully commit to the weed life until later. No.
Yeah. Okay, so what is the first comedian you remember loving as a kid?
Robin Williams.
Wow,
Yeah.
we've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Yeah. I mean, especially when I was a kid, because it was like the 90s, so he was the guy. It's like he was on Mrs. Doubtfire, Aladdin. Patch Adams. He was everywhere all of the time, and his range was so incredible. And then I remember watching his stand up with my dad, and my dad just like crying, laughing. And being like, this is a job that people can do. What is this job? It's so fun. But yeah, he was the first.
So is it one of those things where you didn't really even see his stand-up? You just kind of thought of him as a comedic actor until your dad turned you on to the stand-up and go, oh, there's a whole other thing that these guys do.
Yeah, I didn't even understand what was happening because I'd only seen him in the movies, and then I remember seeing him on a stage doing stand-up, and I was completely mesmerized by it. And then it wasn't a very clear path. Like I knew I wanted to be a performer, but I didn't know that it was going to be stand up until later in my 20s.
So what kind of performing did you tap into before that?
Before that, well, I went to college, and then after college, I got a job in fashion, and I decided that I hated it and that I didn't want to work in fashion. Everyone who works in fashion is not nice. Real like Devil Wears Prada energy. So I totally switched and just decided I wanted to do acting. I started taking acting classes. And as a kid, I did theater and stuff. So it wasn't out of left field. I always wanted to be a performer. But my parents were like, you have to go to school. You're not gonna miss school. You're not gonna miss school for auditions. And I was like, but I want to, you know. Especially because in LA there's kids who do that. So yeah. And then after college, I took some acting classes. I had an acting teacher who suggested that I write a stand-up set and perform it for the class, and I did. And then that was the first time I ever did stand-up.
Oh.
And then I just started getting into the scene in LA from there.
So how'd the teacher pluck you out and say, hey, you should try to do the comedy thing? Because if you're taking acting classes, he must have saw something in there, or, you know.
Yeah, we would do improv scenes and a lot of times mine would be funny. And he said, you have a sense of humor. You need to use that. You need to figure out how to use it. He was a really special acting teacher. I feel like not all acting teachers would have been able to see that and then, you know, give advice based on that. Like he was very plugged into his students. So I'm really appreciative that I had that experience and had someone who saw that and then pushed me in that way. Had that not happened, I don't think that I would have done stand-up.
What's his name? We should give him a shout out.
Doug Warhit.
There you go.
Warhit.
Yeah.
Warhit.
Warhit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warhit. Yeah.
Oh, what a great name for a teacher of a stoner.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Sounds like a metal band.
Well, also,
yeah.
Doug
Warhit.
is the code name for well,
Yeah, you can give
maybe
away
you
the
just
code
edit
now.
it out.
We Doug, that's her code for in mixed company in case people don't approve.
Okay. Doug.
Told everybody, but that's okay. Doug, yeah.
So you're doing acting a little bit, and then you do this this stand up in front of the class. Does that immediately spur you going, hey, I'm going to find some open mics? Or did you even know about the open mic scene? Was that
No. So then a couple months go by and I'm trying to figure out how to do stand up. And I want to say, I think that I was, I know exactly where I was. I was an extra on the Muppets movie.
Oh, nice.
Right. I guess. And I met this guy there and he said, hey, I'm doing the show at the Comedy Store. You have to bring 10 people to perform. Do you want to do it? I was like, sure. So then I started out by doing bringer shows. And then after like a couple months, you realize, oh, like if I want to get good at this, I have to do open mics and really work on the craft. You can't just bring your friends and bomb in front of them every week. So that's that's how it happened. This guy I met when I was doing background on a Muppets thing, it got me to the Comedy Store, and then the rest is kind of history.
What was it like performing at the Comedy Store? Did you do the potluck day?
Oh yeah, well, okay, so at first I did bringer shows. That's just how I got there and met people, and then I realized that's not really the way to grow as a comic. So then I just committed like every Sunday and Monday to doing potluck, because it was on Sundays and Mondays then. And I would just go and sign up, and I just wouldn't get picked, and I just would do that week after week, Sunday and Monday, for years. I just hung out at the Comedy Store for years, and then eventually I got on the show Kill Tony.
Yeah.
And that's how my career started growing more.
Oh wow, through Kill Tony.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I like Kill Tony. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I was a regular on I was one of the first regulars on Kill Tony for 2 years, with Kim Congdon, who she's one of my best friends. We podcast together all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you spent 2 years just hanging out before you even got to get up and do it at the Comedy Store.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time just hanging out. In hindsight, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely an experience, but like the process of starting out in comedy it's so intense, because you have to be so many different places, so many nights of the week. Yes, you're hanging out at the Comedy Store, but when you're not at the Comedy Store, you have to be like working on your sets and getting up. It's all about just doing the repetition of doing it, kind of like baseball practice or anything like that.
Or songs, playing music.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing.
So shit, it left me probably because I smoked.
I'm curious, when you went to the Comedy Store, like to start hanging out, did you know it was the Comedy Store, or was it just a comedy club? Since you were so
Since
new
you
to
grew up in LA too.
Yeah. Were you aware of the mecca for comedy as far as Los Angeles goes, or was it just a club kind of?
I was I knew it was a big deal, but I didn't realize it until the more time I spent there, like how cool it was. And then it really became a even bigger deal when it kind of had a resurgence when Rogan came in. And then it was like, whoa, every night was sold out. It was that was like the craziest time at the Comedy Store, right before the pandemic. It was like every night it's like Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz. It's like the lineups were just so incredible that it makes you just really want to get really good at your craft, so you can just be around the type of people who are really good at what they do.
Yeah. I wanted to say, when you were I remember what I wanted to ask you. When you were doing the potluck thing, Sundays and Mondays, and you said every week you would do this, how often were you picked? Was it like once every couple of months? Was it?
Yes. It's once every couple months, for sure. Because they also the way that it would work is it was about cultivating the relationships and spending the time there, kind of, so you get to connect with people who are doing the same things as you. And then it's kind of an artist colony, so you can help each other punch up your jokes, or you really get close with the people who are coming up at the same time as you. It's almost becomes a class. And then you start to realize that even though it's this thing where you're standing alone on the stage, you're still doing it with people around you, and those people become kind of like your coworkers. So I guess, yes, I spent a lot of time just waiting for sets that I didn't get. But that's really it's not uncommon in stand-up, especially in the beginning. I think it's the persistence is what keeps people. Either you can handle it and you're just persistent, you keep showing up, or you can't,
And is it a literal lottery? They reach in and pull it out? It's chance? Okay. It's
chance for the most part, unless for some reason the booker knows that they want to see you in advance, and then they'll be like, okay, or they keep their eyes on you, or if like an agent suggests to the booker to see someone, then that's a little different. But yeah, for the most part, they try to keep it by chance. But if you keep showing up, I do feel that eventually you get more opportunities because they can see that you're not really going anywhere. But then there's also people that just keep showing up and nothing ever happens, and then they just get stuck there, you know? So it's
That's right. It kind of sounds like a frat or sorority where they're kind of rush. It's almost like a rush to get in. You go
Yes.
showing up and everybody's almost until they accept you, probably, like you say, unless you're an alien that comes right out of the, like Robin Williams apparently showed up and everybody's like, holy shit. But short of those people, you got to put in your time before they're ever going to let you have a shot.
Yes. If you don't have any, it's hard because now it's like especially in LA, you need to have credits. Like it's harder to get a lot of stage time in LA. Like I can go to San Diego and I can easily do an hour in San Diego, but in LA it's so saturated with so many talented headliners. Same with New York, you know? So yeah,
So
it's harder to get the longer sets.
I wonder if that's like Nashville, because when we play here, there's so many bands and musicians just packed in Nashville, amazing musicians everywhere you go. So if you play here, you get a certain kind of response. But if you drive 30 or 45 miles down the road and play, people go apeshit because they're not used to seeing good. So I would imagine it's like that for comedy outside of Los Angeles. When you do get out of town, you're like, whoa, I'm pretty fucking good actually, after all.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. Even, just driving an hour, it's easier to find way more opportunities, you know? So, but for me, I love podcasting. So I like doing my sets in LA and podcasting. I'm thankful for podcasting, especially during the pandemic.
So are we.
Yeah.
It keeps us sane. That's why we started doing this, because that's all we would listen to in the van, because we can't agree on what music to listen to. So we'd always listen to comedy podcasts or stand up. And then once we were shut down, we're like, maybe we can sucker some of these comics to talk to us since they're stuck at home too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
so excited to be here.
But it is it's almost like a different art form for comedy. And you guys have the best, I would say, skill set to do podcasts, because you're used to talking, used to entertaining people with just words. And, you know, you put a couple of comics together, it's hard to have a bad podcast.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting. I never thought that I would be, when I first started doing podcasts, I didn't think it was going to be such a major part of my career, you know, like it's, and also in the fact that it keeps me kind of sane too, because I get the instant gratification of, I just recorded this, I get to put it out in a week. It doesn't just sit on a shelf waiting for someone else to say, oh, I like this. You know what I mean? Same with like the live performance of stand-up, that you get that instant gratification, I'm sure, with live music as well.
And that's probably something that was, I don't know, you said you were doing, if you had your designs on did you do any acting, like go out and do auditions and stuff like that? Because
yes,
you're pretty much at the mercy of somebody else to even allow you to do what you want to do. To where comedy, you know, you might be doing it for 5 people, but you can go out and do stand-up, but you can't just go out and act in a movie just because you want to.
Right. That's one of the main reasons why I decided to do stand-up, because I also like writing. A lot of the roles that I would audition for would be for weird. They'd be weird. It'd be like hot girl number 4. And it's like, I don't, what does that even mean? You know, like, or like it wasn't any of the parts or roles that really were interesting to me, because I felt more quirky than them. So for me, comedy was fun because I could also be creative, and I had the ability to write. So it kind of became, you know, it just becomes kind of like this fun, like, art project. You're like walking around with a notebook. You have like a bunch of words. You're like, let me see if I can make this work. So yeah. And
it must be a drag for somebody that's naturally funny. If you're going to be an actor and go out and do comedic roles, if you're looking at your part and going, this is not even that funny, I could be way funnier than this, but you have to read the lines and they're going to dumb you down and make you kind of less funny than you could be. It's got to be frustrating as hell.
Yeah. Yes. It's 100% so frustrating. Especially I was auditioning, and I sometimes still do. I haven't been because I've been so over it, but commercial auditions, I get those all the time. I've yet to book one. I've been auditioning for them for at least 10 years. I have bombed in so many commercial auditions because I'm like, what is even happening? You want me to do like the writing is so bad, and they want you. It's so far out of my comfort zone, the things that they had me do. It was like, it's Halloween and you're a mom and your kids are coming to the door to trick or treat. And so you got to answer the door and then it's all a lot. Especially because I went from, it used to be like hot girl roles. Now it's just like mom roles. So it's been fun. It's been a really fun transition to see those.
I can imagine. Yeah, but commercials, I mean, I would think if you didn't want to be an actor full time, those are pretty good. You go work for what, a weekend and then get paid if you.
That's what I was thinking, but I can't seem to fucking book one. I mean, can I say fuck?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. No, I audition for them every so often. I've gotten callbacks and I've been like, because I get in my head about it too, because I'm like, this could really change some things for me. All I need is one national commercial. And then I like put so much on it that I feel like every time I audition for commercials, I'm so weird.
Right.
But I still have a commercial agent. If she ever sees this, I still want to book.
I guess the flip side of that is you could turn into like the flow girl from that insurance company where you just want to do a commercial and then all of a sudden everybody knows you. Progressive, there it is. Everybody knows you as that person. That would almost be a drag too. Like, oh shit, I was a little too good at this role. Now I'm just the person from the commercial.
Yeah, there's a lot of those, I feel. Like I remember there's a Pine Sol lady who was around for a while. I don't know. Yeah, and Flo. It's like then you get pigeonholed in your forever Flo. You know, it's like if you want to be, I don't know. Yeah. So maybe it's a good thing I haven't booked, a national insurance commercial yet.
It would be hard for Flo to go out and do dark humor as a stand. Although maybe Bob Saget would work for him, with the TV and everything. It might be just the juxtaposition would be so hilarious if she was doing rape jokes or something.
Yeah, Flo from Progressive.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
What's worse, doing comedy or bombing in a commercial?
Oh, I think comedy. Nothing's worse than bombing in comedy. I mean, bombing in a commercial audition is really awkward though, because they're asking you to do something way outside of my comfort zone. Right. You know what I mean? Because like when I go on, yeah. So it's like I had this one audition. They were like, it was a McDonald's audition, and they asked me to bring multiple hats, multiple sunglasses. And then they set up some chairs. And they made it like I was driving a car. I had like a steering wheel here, and I had to pull up to the McDonald's window. And every time I orders a different item, I would have to put on a different hat.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense to me at all. So I'd like put on a beret and be like, "Can I get some small fries? Thanks." And then I have to put on a new one and be like, "Hey, can I try the new smoothie?" And then I kept doing stuff like that, and I just felt so awkward because I was like, I don't understand. I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand why I'm having to change these hats. Like I just felt like that was a really awkward one for me because I just felt kind of like I was a prop comic that was bombing. Right. Like, and I was like, oh no, it's okay. I put on another hat, I guess. I don't know. It was really weird. And sometimes you find out about them the night before and they'll be like, can you bring a hockey jersey tomorrow at 10 a.m. So the night before you're like, okay, I gotta find a hockey jersey. It always just seems like it's last minute and they want something weird. Yeah. Almost 95% of the time. And then in the back of my head, there's always that chance of, okay, if I can find a hockey jersey, get some coffee, I can make it to the audition, that could pay my rent for the next year and a half. Let's do this. You know what I mean? So that's what keeps me going to the auditions. But I just don't think the commercial platform is for me.
Yeah, I went to, I did like maybe 3 or 4 auditions here in Nashville years ago. And that was it for me. I was like, I can't, it's not for me. There was one where they had me just read something. And I was so nervous. That was my very first one that I just couldn't read or do anything in front of the camera. Then the next time she told me to dance, and I did the worst dance that anyone has ever done for anything. It was Picking Wildflowers. Do you remember that song? It was one of the New Country guys.
No.
Picking wildflowers. Like, remember that? And so she played it. I guess it was for the music video, but I did some sort of weird square dance thing that I've never even like. I don't know. I think they just wanted somebody to like do this, in the background of
And
a
you're
club.
clogging and going.
Yeah, I started doing the square. Like, it was just so
That's
awkward.
amazing.
I don't even know why. Yeah. So I get it. Auditions suck. I can't believe you're still doing them. Hats off
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, but if you nail one, like you said, take care of a year of bills right there.
Yeah, if you nail one and you still have, I'm like, I'm willing to sacrifice my dignity for a year of paid rent.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've been really interesting since the pandemic too, because some of them have been online, and you go into like a waiting room online and you see people in the waiting room. It was so weird. I ran into a friend in a digital waiting room for a commercial audition.
Wow. Could you talk to him in the waiting room, or did you just?
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was so weird. I was like, what? Hey, good to see you. She's like, you too. And then the casting director comes out, gives everyone an explanation, and then mutes everyone. But it was crazy.
Wow, that's interesting. I
that
didn't think
is
about that.
interesting.
Yeah, but that makes sense. So you mentioned when you started the Comedy Store, or in comedy, you kind of come up with a crew. I assume you had one. Who are some of the people that were or are in your crew? Because from what we've talked to people that have been doing it for 30 years, and apparently whoever you come up with, there's going to be there's a crew that almost sticks with you throughout.
Yeah, well, so like my best friend is Kim Congdon. We're super close, like pretty much sisters at this point, because we were on Kill Tony together at the same time in our early 20s. So we really kind of bonded, and we would help each other with our writing. We became best friends. We're like family members at this point. We're starting a podcast together. She guests on my podcast all the time. And then just, I have like friends who we started at the same time, who when I don't see them all the time, but when I see them, it's the best. Like, Frank Castillo is one of my good friends. This guy Hormos, I don't know if you know him. He's a really good writer. Yeah, it just, and then from doing it over a longer period of time, now I've become friends with other people who weren't in my class, but we've just been doing podcasts together, like Sickler and Josh Potter. Those are two of my favorite people.
Two good dudes. We've talked to them both.
Yeah, I talk to them. I have them on my podcast all the time, and same with Kim. So yeah. And then also there's a girl, Gabby Lamb, who's super funny. Close with her, love seeing her. Ali Makovsky's great. Yeah.
And your podcast is called Shank?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interview comedy podcast. New episodes come out every Wednesday. It's really fun.
The best part about podcasting is finding guests, I've found out. I'm just being very facetious there.
Yeah.
I'm too jealous of somebody like Bill Burr that can just sit down and rant by himself and not have to deal with anything else.
Ooh, he's the best.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
We asked him if he would drum on our last single, but he didn't respond to.
He didn't?
Can you believe that? I mean, it's not like he has anything going on.
Yeah.
How dare he?
No, we need him to drum on your single.
Speaking of those hot shots, we've talked to other people that a lot of times younger comedians somebody will take them under their wing a little bit, take them out on the road or whatever. Did you have any sort of mentors or anything like that once you got into the scene?
Well, when I got into the scene, because I was on Kill Tony, so Tony helped Kim and I. And then we did Rogan in 2014, which was a push for us. Christina Pazynski, I've opened for her a bunch. She's the best.
Yeah.
She's been a really good mentor. Her and Tom are kind of the best people. But yeah, no, Christina and I got along right away. I met her when I was doing Kill Tony because she was a guest on Kill Tony. She's also from LA. When she was on the Kill Tony panel, it came up that I was from LA. Then we discovered we went to the same all-girls Catholic high school in the Valley.
Oh, wow.
So ever since then, we've been pretty good friends. And she's the best. Like, I know if I needed something, I could totally ask her for advice or anything like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love her.
She's hilarious too.
So funny, so cool. Good mom. She's just the best.
Yeah, she's got a good podcast too. Where my mom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you hit the comedy store and doing that, or maybe even still, did you? Because a lot of people I know look at that as a way to get into acting or get into the movies or any of that. Did you still have designs on that when you got in, or was it just like, yeah, screw that, I'm gonna just be a stand-up?
Well, okay, so the acting thing was always in the back of my mind, and I have scripts that I've written that eventually I'd like to sell. And I think it'd be cool to be in them, but I'm not married to being in them either at this point. Like, I'm open to whatever. I just love stand-up so much that my focus has really been on stand-up and just getting good at the craft and finding people to listen to my podcast so that when, I'm able to tour, I can fill seats with people who have been following me and know who I am. Like, that's kind of where my focus has shifted, because I enjoy putting out the podcast and I get a lot of positive feedback about it. So between that and then actually doing stand-up, if I find that opportunities present themselves along the way, but I'm not singularly minded, like I want to do acting, and I'm open to doing acting, and I would love to like play in that way. It's fun for me. When I was a kid, I used to like talk in accents and stuff. So I've always kind of liked playing and performing.
Have you ever tried to write a song?
You got to be careful what accent you use nowadays too. It could get you in trouble.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
Have you ever tried writing a song or playing music, singing?
I have a keyboard. I got a keyboard. I was just decided that I wanted a piano. I was living at my parents' house and they were ready for me to move out. And then I came home one day with a weighted keyboard and was like, hi. And they're like, you're going to just play that all the time. You don't know how to play it. And I got headphones and I started teaching myself. There's an app called Flow Key. And it'll highlight and tell you if you're hitting the right keys or whatever. So I taught myself very basics of piano. And then I moved and now I have my piano in my kitchen because I told myself if I got a piano, it would just be something recreational for me that the stakes aren't high. It would just be a fun thing where it's okay if I'm not the best at it. It's just something to use my mind in a different way, in between writing or in between podcasting. So I got it and then I moved and now it's just in my kitchen looking at me like, why don't you play me? And so I need to get back into doing it. But when I was doing it, I did make up the beginning of a song on a keyboard. And I was like, is this how it happens? Like you find something? I don't know. It was so beyond anything that I've ever experienced. And I had so much fun doing it that I need to set it back up again. But I just got busy now that things are weird because they're like in LA, it's like, is it the pandemic? Is it not the pandemic? What's happening?
Yeah, it's kind of like that everywhere now.
Everywhere. Okay. Yeah. It's like, where should I put my attention? Because if I have to stay in the house again, I guess I'm going back to full keyboard mode.
Right. So how do you write, like if you talk about trying to write songs, what's your writing process when it comes to writing jokes or doing new comedy material? I wonder if it would be the same if you were trying to write songs.
Normally it just comes out of nowhere. It'll be like a thought. And then I'll write down the thought and then I'll think about it for a few days, see if I can add anything to it. I'll read it out loud. I'll put it on Twitter. Sometimes it will do well on Twitter. Sometimes it won't. A lot of times there's jokes that do well on Twitter, but they're just good on Twitter. They don't do well in real life.
Right.
But I write them down and then I have little fragments of ideas and then I take them to stage and see if they work or if they don't work. And then I record it and then I go back, listen to what worked, what didn't work, and then tinker it.
It's always a trip listening to you guys talk about how you write it because everybody we've talked to comes at it in slightly different or completely opposite ways of writing comedy, you know, same way with writing songs too. I mean, you
Right.
just described writing songs, except you just make them rhyme and put a melody to it. And, you know, it's kind of the same process. Cause I think we both talked about when you write songs, it's most of the times it feels like something comes out of nowhere. It might be a line, might be a melody line, just tiny bars. And then you start hammering away at it because you're like, oh, that's good. And it kind of sticks in your head. So probably with your a funny thought or something like that, it's something that sticks.
Totally.
And you're like, well, that's probably worth trying to flesh out.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly the same thing. I mean, I cannot imagine doing that with music, but yeah, it's definitely the same thing. Like an idea comes out of nowhere and you're like, okay, I think this is kind of a good idea. Let me write this down. And it seems like it's out of nowhere. And then you're like, how do I get back to that place where the ideas come? And then I find that if I stop like waiting for them and I like go on a hike or do something kind of really present, then they'll come out again. The ideas.
Yeah, it's same kind of thing.
Driving, taking a shower, stuff like that. That's when we've talked about tons, but that's when ideas seem to come when your brain's taken up by some menial task like driving or walking or whatever, and it seems to open up another part of your brain to let that stuff kind of get
Come
through.
in, yeah.
Totally. The driving. I've been driving so many times and had to pull over to write down a joke. Or sometimes another way I'll do it is I'll talk about a joke. I'll write jokes, Kim will write jokes, then we'll get together, talk about the jokes, and then record that conversation, and then go back and hit on the notes that we talked together. So like I'll have a joke and then we'll flesh that out, and then she'll have a joke and then we'll flesh that one out, and then we can kind of help each other build and we can get more done faster. So that's cool.
I love that. That is,
Yeah.
That's great.
Man, it seems like, I mean, I'm sure there is some, you know, cattiness within the comic world, but it does seem like there's also a lot of punching up other people's stuff, like bouncing ideas off of other people and things like that. And people not being so competitive that they don't help or try and sabotage you. Now, I'm sure some of that goes on. It goes on.
Totally. It definitely goes on. But there's also an element of like the people who are your friends and they actually want you to do well because it's like your success is their success kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Especially for Kim and I, because we've been coming up at the same time and have had so many different things in our careers happen together that it's cool. It's cool to have the support in that way, especially as a woman. It's cool to have like another woman who's like around the same age as you, who's doing the same thing as you, who knows what you're going through. Like it's invaluable. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Yeah, and I can't believe you haven't brought up the fashion stuff yet, because that's where you guys truly are on
the fashion stuff. Yeah.
What do you think about white jeans?
Okay, I like white jeans a lot. I can't wear white jeans because I have a huge ass and it's distracting. I just don't feel comfortable in white jeans, but I think white jeans are super cute. I think they'd be really cute on you.
Well, I don't like the way they look on me either. And
Really?
no ass at all. Maybe that's why they look shitty on me. But
No, I feel like that's what you need for the white jean.
what kind of shoe though? What kind of shoe? Not white tennis shoe either. No white tennis shoe. Okay, I'm over that.
Okay.
We're over that.
Okay.
What kind of shoe would you wear with it?
With a white pant.
It's hard.
Wow.
Like you have to go with nude, right? But then I don't really like sandals. I like to cover I don't like my feet hanging out.
I don't like my feet hanging out either. I'm like, it's vulnerable.
So I can't figure out what kind, unless I just buy white cowboy boots or something.
White cowboy boots are really cute. There's a really cute pair from Jeffrey Campbell right now. They're white. They're called the Daggett. Dagget. I can send you them. They're really cute.
The boots?
Yeah, they're white. They're cute white boots. I'll send you a link.
Okay, cool. I thought you were gonna send me boots.
I wish.
Yeah, so I guess white cowboy boots then with the white jean.
And a cute top.
And a cute top.
Yeah.
Yeah, white cowboy boots. You could do. Yeah. I mean, also I would do white. I like white Converse, but you said no tennis shoes.
Yeah, no tennis. I don't want to, like
you're done.
Yeah, that's obvious. You can wear the tennis shoe, but I mean, like if we're going somewhere where you didn't want to be a tennis shoe girl for the day or whatever.
Or like I like an Oxford. Do you know what that is?
Oh yeah, like the 50s shoe.
Yeah, like kind of like I love a saddle shoe.
Oh, wait,
That's
no,
like
an Oxford.
an Oxford's kind of like a dress shoe.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain it.
Aren't saddle Oxfords the
Saddle
ones that the
Oxfords. I thought that
Catholic
was-
school girls wear?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have those. Those would be cute with white pants. I have saddle shoes. I wear them all the time with everything, and they look really cute.
Okay. Cool.
Because they're black and white, and they go with everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you've solved the white jean
Yeah.
riddle.
dilemma.
But you're into fashion, right? It makes its way into your comedy as well.
Yeah, I love fashion. Well, I feel like it's an extension of my personality. So like I have like a lot of rings on right now. I always have a lot of rings on. I got yin yangs on my nails. Like my closet's like color coordinated. I love a vintage print. I love a vintage shirt. Yeah, I just love clothes in general.
I want to try on all your clothes. Is that
Yeah,
weird?
you gotta come to LA and try on all my clothes.
Okay, so before I let you go, I want to ask you, when is the first time you remember hearing about my grandpa, Willie Nelson, and what's your own personal Willie Nelson story? And if you don't have one, it's okay.
And if you've never heard of him, that's okay
But
too.
he's a country
No,
singer.
I definitely have heard of Willie Nelson before.
He smokes a lot of weed, so maybe
Smokes a lot of weed. Definitely have tried some of the edibles that his wife makes.
yeah.
When I did Getting Doug with
Oh.
Lucas.
Oh, cool. So you hung out with Uncle Lucas.
Yeah, I've hung out with Lucas. Lucas has done my podcast. He's the
great.
best. Willie Nelson, I remember my grandpa and my dad listening to Willie Nelson and loving it as a kid. So,
So yeah,
That's
so
nice.
he's kind of always around.
yeah, just like an icon.
Yeah.
Still an icon. Yeah,
Still an icon.
sure.
Well, Sarah, thanks so much for doing this with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I had such a great time. It was so nice to meet both of you guys.
Yeah, if you ever get to Nashville, you need to look us up.
I will. I might be coming to Nashville in 2022.
Okay.
I was supposed to go this fall, but it didn't work out. But I'm thinking I'm going to get there next year for sure. Because also I have a friend out there, Josh Wolf's out there. He's great.
He came by here in person. We talked to him.
Oh yeah, he's
Ladies a
the
couple times.
best.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's also been a really awesome friend in person to me too. So
Yeah, him
Love
and his
him.
wife are cool people.
oh yeah, I love Bethany the best. She was like, I went over there. She gave me a crystal, put essential oil on me. I was like, I found my people. But yeah, thank you so much. Can I tell people where to find me? Is that cool?
Yes, please do.
Please
We're
do.
going to
Okay.
put the links too, but
Yeah, we'll put the links
Cool.
in the description.
Cool, awesome. At Princess Shank on Instagram and Twitter. Check out my podcast, Shank, SHENK, on all streaming platforms, and I'm on YouTube as well. Okay.
awesome. And we'll get with you and make sure we have those links when we put this up to have it in the description.
Okay, cool. I can't wait. It was so nice meeting you guys.
Yes. Nice to meet you
Sarah.
too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Sarah Weinshenk is my favorite comedian.
She was a good one. It's always good to have females on here. They're hard to get.
Yeah, it was a good one. Sarah Weinshenk is my favorite comedian.
She was fun. Anyway, it's hard to get female comedians on here. I don't know why. But
They don't like us.
maybe not. Write, rate, review. Oh no.
Enjoy your groceries.
I know your mama's name.
Don't be an asshole.
We free Britney.